Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Glenn McCrimmon. I'm the Director of Operations for the Clean Resource Innovation Network. And today we're going to talk about CRIN's upcoming competition, Accelerating Cleantech Innovation. And specifically, we're going to talk about the role of competition coordinator. And with that, I'm going to share my screen. All right, everyone. Well, again, thank you so much. Thanks for taking the time today to come and learn about CRIN's latest technology competition and the important role of the competition coordinator. As I mentioned, I'm Glenn McCrimmon, currently providing services as the Director of Operations for CRIN. And with us today is a number of others from the CRIN team. And we have, including Bill Whitelaw, who is helping us with this competition, and Jerry Ye, who is providing services for us as the um, uh, in finance and contracting, and so he'll be available to answer questions related to anything financial or contracts related. Um, the agenda here shows the topics that we have planned for today. So we're going to have a brief introduction to CRIN and who we are, what we're about for folks who maybe not as familiar. We'll talk a bit about the previous competitions that CRIN has hosted, and then we'll get into the current competition that we're getting ready to launch, the scope, the funding model, what we're looking for in terms of a competition coordinator for requirements and expectations. And then we have some frequently asked questions that we'll go through, and thank you for those who have already reached out early with questions. We'll do our best to cover all of your questions here. And then we'll have a Q&A section at the end. So for any additional questions that you might have, what we ask is that you please use the chat function, and only the organizers of the webinar here will be able to see your questions. So you'll be anonymous to anyone else who is on the call. And as I said, we'll get to those questions at the end of the session. Okay, so a little bit about CRIN. Whoops, went too far. A little bit about CRIN. So CRIN is a national not-for-profit network. We have over 4,600 members across Canada and beyond. And we link industry, SMEs, researchers, investors, policy leaders, and others. And we see ourselves as connectors and conveners in this clean tech innovation ecosystem. We have had $110 million total in federal funding. And with that, we've attracted well over $200 million from other providers from industry to support 41 later stage field-ready projects and another 25 projects that span across 6 provinces. CRIN's mission is to enable the development, commercialization, and adoption of innovative clean tech solutions in the oil and gas space that can be applied across Canadian hard-to-abate industries and globally to reduce emissions. And there are 7 technology theme areas of focus for CRIN, and I'll get into those in a bit more detail as we go. And when I talk about connecting players in the ecosystem, the players that I'm talking about, we refer to here as sectors. So we have the adopters of technology, the innovators or tech developers, we have the funders, supporting services, and ultimately talent development. In the here, so previously, CRIN has held 3 competitions back in 2021. We were awarded in 2021 $100 million from the Strategic Innovation Fund, or SIF. And the 3 technologies competitions are shown here. A total of $80 million was allocated across the 3 competitions for later stage technology development, so that TRL 6 to 9. In the end, 41 late stage projects were supported And many of these have recently completed or are near completion. In aggregate, all of the 7 technical themes that you would have seen in the previous slide were covered by these 3 competitions. And for each of the competitions, CRIN partnered with a third-party organization to act as the competition coordinator. And the coordinators for these 3 competitions are shown on the slides here. And we also hired an independent fairness monitor to ensure consistency and fairness across all 3 of these competitions. In addition to the 41 late stage projects, CRIN's also funded an additional 25 earlier stage projects, utilizing an additional $6 million. So in total, there were 66 projects funded for a total of $86 million, leveraging in a 2.5 to 1 ratio. Among the active projects, CRIN recently collected data from 22 SMEs on progress over the last 3 years, and the metrics shown on the bottom 2/3 of the slide are from those 22 companies. Resulting in company growth, technology readiness improvements. We had full-time jobs, over 300 jobs created, and co-op opportunities as well. 118 new partnerships, 178 new patents, and some new businesses that have sprouted from the work that has been done. So one of the things that is also super important for these kinds of projects are the environmental benefits, such as emissions reduction, land and water use footprint reduction. For public facing go forward communication, we don't advertise those currently in terms of the projections for things like emissions reduction and whatnot, due to sensitivities around the Competition Act and Bill C-59. So to protect everyone involved, we are currently avoiding those broadcasting those types of metrics. But just wanted to give you a sense for the success that we've had with the projects that we've been funding and supporting to date from those previous competitions. So now looking forward to this year and the 2025 competition, CRIN has additional funds available to support a new Canada-wide competition for late-stage technology development. When I say late stage, we're talking about technology readiness levels of 6 to 9. These technologies must align with one or more of CRIN's 7 technology themes, and I'll get into the themes a little bit deeper here shortly. And the technical criteria for the different themes will be coming from CRIN, and in particular from our technical theme working groups, and that's in progress, and we'll be able to share that with the whoever our coordinator ends up being. Also important is the lead applicant must be a Canadian entity, and the project must be carried out in Canada. The project also must include an industry partner who's providing funding support. Industry partnership is a must that provides what we call industry pull for these projects, and really helps with the success at the end of the day. Now, a key constraint for this particular competition is the timeline. So CRIN's current funding agreement with SIF expires on September 30th, 2027. So this will really limit the types of projects that should be considered here. And because of that September 2027 date, projects funded from this round need to be completed by March 31st, 2027 to allow for final claims and reporting. And I think it's important to mention here maybe as well that currently CRIN has an active application with SIF looking for additional funding for a much larger scope than what we're talking about here. So more funds and a 5-year timeline. And this competition that we're currently contemplating will be a good test case in advance for this larger tranche that we're hoping to receive, and the competitions that will fall out from that. Eligible costs are to be determined by CRIN's contribution agreement with the Strategic Innovation Fund. And we can get into more details on that with the winning coordinator, but I will talk a little bit about what we mean by eligible costs here later in this webinar. And projects will need to report annually and for 5 years beyond completion of the project. So that's another piece of information here. And we have preference for technologies that have cross-industry applications. So for example, something that works in the oil and gas space, but that same technology could equally be applied in another industry, say cement or steel, for example. And ultimately, we're looking for environmental performance outcomes, intellectual property development, and skilled job creation, among other things. With regards to the technology theme areas, so these are CRIN's official technology theme areas. They've been verified as areas of focus by a subset of CRIN's oil and gas industry members. The list is written slightly differently from what you might have seen in our RFP document, but they cover the same technology areas. So we're covering emissions reduction technology, cleaner fuels, land reclamation, water tech, value-added products from hydrocarbons, including things like hydrogen, carbon fibers, carbon capture, utilization and storage to be part of this, and oil and gas recovery technologies, but also things like geothermal, genomics, etc., and digital applications. This competition is intended to entertain applications related to any of these technology theme areas. In terms of the funding model, CRIN has available a total of $12 million available for this competition, and with potential additional support from partnering funding agencies. And so we're in the progress of communications with a number of entities across Canada for potentially additional funds that could be supported regionally through this competition. That's something that is, like I say, is a work in progress. But at minimum, we have $12 million available. We're looking at a maximum amount per project of $2 million. This is non-dilutive funding. And CRIN will cover up to 50% of eligible project costs, with the total stacking for other government funding to be no more than 75% of the total project eligible costs. And these eligible costs are determined by our contribution agreement with the Strategic Innovation Fund. And this is a reimbursement model. So quarterly expenses will be claimed at the end of each quarter for reimbursement. And with regards to eligible costs, one common question that's come up has been around in-kind contributions. Currently, in-kind contributions are not considered eligible costs. We can get into the details of the SIF eligibility and the reimbursement model with our selected coordinator. Just to simply show the timeline on a graph here, we've got the end of August here is when we are closing the RFP process for competition coordinator. We're expecting the applications, or sorry, the launch to happen in October. The exact timing is dependent a bit on the CIF and ISED interest and participation in a formal launch. Any press releases related to this would require CIF approval in advance. And so applications and evaluations will happen through the fall, and a ranked list of potential awardees would be shared with CRIN for final selection early in the new year, with awards approximately in February of 2026. And then Jerry and his team, the contracts team, will work with the awardees to have contracts finalized by April 1st, 2026. That's the timeline. For the competition coordinator, successful applicants will have relevant experience and expertise in this area. So with a history of Cleantech competition management, reliable network of technical reviewers, or willing to partner with others if necessary. You'll have project management capability, so that demonstrated capacity to manage projects of the scale, timely and on budget. Stakeholder engagement capabilities are important. What's your breadth of reach, for example, and credibility across Canada? Resource and budget management history, so realistic expectations for resources and budget. Alignment with competition objectives. So it's important for us that you, as the competition coordinator, are comfortable supporting Canada's oil and gas industry through clean tech development. And then we're also expecting, high quality presentation and proposal from you. In terms of other expectations, my slide's not advancing here. There we go. Other important expectations. We expect timely program management and delivery and adherence to budget. We expect that you would have access to the required subject matter expertise required for the evaluation. We expect that you'd be able to attract a diversity of applicants from across Canada, and that with regards to the integrity and the review piece, that you would have independent, qualified, and impartial reviewers for each applicant, a clear methodology for assessing environmental performance expectations, and the ability to track any potential conflict of interest. With regards to reporting, we expect clear process documentation and wrap-up reporting, regular updates to the CRIN team through the process, and a ranked list of projects for the CRIN executive team's final selection towards the end. With regards to timeline, I mentioned that we're looking at August 31st, 2025, and your proposals can be submitted to myself, Glenn McCrimmon, at gmccrimmon@crincanada.com. Any other questions beyond today, you can reach out to me and to Bill Whitelaw here as well, who's our facilitator. And he's at whitelaw.bill@gmail.com. And with that, we do have a handful of frequently asked questions, and I'm going to just touch on some of those here now. With regards to conflict of interest, this could be your relationship with any SMEs through your other business, or industry clients that could be applicants for this proposal. With regards to the project evaluation criteria that will be coming from CRIN, as I mentioned, this is in progress, and we'll have that before long. With regards to national reach, if you don't have national reach currently, but you do have relevant technical experience, you can partner with another organization to complete those requirements. Um, with regards to budget, our budget remains confidential, but we can say that we have a cap related to the overall competition value. And I'm hoping everybody can still hear me okay, because I have some work going on in the house and it is really noisy. With regards to how long projects have to complete, and other milestones that might be within this project. The project or specific milestones within the project can commence prior to the funding agreement date, but they must be completed no later than March 31st. The main language for communication will be English. However, we will advertise in both official languages. Regarding company size, there's no requirement regarding the number of employees. However, the applicant must demonstrate sufficient financial strength to successfully carry out the project. Financial analysts and due diligence will be conducted prior to signing of the funding agreement. For example, there's no existing pending or anticipating litigations with creditors, other funders or government agencies, including the CRA, et cetera. I mentioned earlier regarding in-kind contributions that in-kind is currently not considered eligible by CIF. Do technologies have to be developed in Canada? So regarding Canadian content, the project must be carried out in Canada. However, the technologies may be developed elsewhere prior to the project. But in these cases, the applicant must ensure that it holds the proper rights to use the background IP in Canada. There was a question about stakeholders that are referred to in the RFP. And I see there's a typo on the slide that says RPF. In this context, stakeholders are the relevant players in the innovation ecosystem, such as the 5 sectors that I mentioned earlier, the adopter community, the innovators, funders, supporting services, and talent. And we've also been asked if we have contacts from industry that are looking for innovators, and if so, could we share them with the coordinator? And as long as the industry players agree, we'd be happy to share who from industry is looking for innovators to pair with for this competition. So with that, that's the formal material that we had set to cover, but we do have opportunity for Q&A. And I see from the chat that we do have a couple of questions here. So we have a question around, if the winners are announced in February 2026, but the project must be completed by March 2027, can projects that are already underway apply for this funding? Or is this a requirement that the project starts after the funding is announced and take no more than 13 months? Great question. Yes, we'd be happy to entertain projects that are currently in flight. And in fact, I think when you look at that time constraint that we have, that's a very high probability that we'll need to do such. So yes, that's a great question. How many technology innovator applications do you expect? Another great question. Not sure. There's a lot of interest for sure. When we announced that we were going out for the RFP and hinted that there was a competition coming, we got quite a few responses from interested innovators. I'm going to say I would expect dozens of applicants, possibly more, but it's hard to say. And then another question around the budget. Would this be a fixed fee contract or cost reimbursable? So we'll negotiate that with you, but we have a cap that we want to not exceed. Another question regarding the slides. Yes, happy to share these slides post-webinar. we can mail it out to all of the participants. Now, there's a question around the industry partner and expectation that the applicant comes with an industry funder already secured. Sorry, I'm losing it here. Or can the applicant's coordinator facilitate that and link a relationship? Yeah, we're not going to be signing the contract without an industry partner, and industry partnership will be an important piece of the criteria at the end of the day in terms of selection. That is a question that perhaps Jerry from the team could elaborate on with regards to whether that industry partner has to be already in place. Oh yeah, so also in the chat, by the way, you should all see now a link to the website that'll have this recording plus the slides. Another question. Application form for the coordinator competition. We don't have a form per se, so we're looking for you to pull together a proposal in a format that makes sense for you. And sorry, we had Joy on our team has answered that question about the industry partnership. It needs to be part of the application. So to clarify that, the industry partner needs to be secured. Another question: how would we like the coordinator candidates to demonstrate their experience in their proposal? Yeah, great question. I think we'd like to see some verbiage around what your experience is. So, and if you have examples, that would be terrific. Or even references for us to share or to check. Any other questions? We're going to stay online for a little longer here, just so that we can address more questions that potentially come up. But I think I've answered all the questions that are in the chat right now. But happy to take more. We'll give another 60 seconds or so here to receive additional questions. Then if not, we said we can share out this presentation, and the link to the recording is in the chat. And hey, we're excited about this competition. We're thrilled to have so many interested parties, and really looking forward to working with you to make this a success and really have an impact, for clean tech development in Canada, and really show how we can go coast to coast and break down any of those mental barriers between provinces. I do have another question. If we're interested in partnering with another organization, is there a way CRIN can facilitate this, or at least make an intro? Well, that's what CRIN is all about, is connecting and convening. And so if there's a specific type of organization you're hoping to connect with, reach out to us. I think we'd have no issue helping you understand who others in the ecosystem are that you could partner with, and that way we're not necessarily cluing you into who else is applying, but at least we can do our job in helping you make those connections. And yeah, the author of that question also said that we do have the ecosystem map that might be helpful. Another question: would the potential for having clients that might apply for the CRIN funding disqualify a consultant from being the coordinator? No, not necessarily. You just have to be very transparent about any conflicts, so that it's no. I mean, when you, at the end of the day, this is public money. and we need to make sure that we're I'll use the term squeaky clean in terms of there's no conflicts of interest, and that we're making the best use of public funds, and so on. So declaring that conflict and then dealing with it in an impartial way is really what we need. And we will have a fairness monitor, and there are other parties that could be involved, but transparency is the most important thing. Any other questions? Yeah, so I guess one other important thing to emphasize here really is that the criteria that we've shown in the slides. If you don't think you can meet those criteria, um, this might not be the project for you. And also, with regards to the applicants, the industry partnership is super important. Like, we can't be spending too much time on applications that aren't going to qualify. So yes. I'm going to ask the CRIN team, Jerry or Bill or Joy, if you have anything you would like to add that we haven't covered here today, or that you think is an important point to make, to feel free to unmute yourself and
Yeah. Thank you, Glenn. So you did a tremendous job outlining everything. We're very excited about it all. I would just point out that there's through the course of the competition, once it's officially announced, we're going to have a very detailed communications campaign run by our great comms team at CRIN, because we really want to build. We all see the same headlines and read the same engagements on social media about this important juncture in Canadian energy history, and that we really want to make sure we magnify beyond the competition the importance of the oil and gas industry's clean tech evolution. And so we're having a lot of fun planning that competition, or that in effect that communication strategy, which will profile some of those great success stories that Glenn has alluded to in the past, from past competitions, just as a way of amplifying it and getting people across Canada really enthused about the prospects for this. And so I just would flag that, Glenn, and then of course the coordinator will play a key role in helping aid that comms comp, as it were. So
terrific. Thanks, Bill. I saw another question pop up here regarding expectations for progress / post-project reporting. And from our perspective, the post-project reporting is really it's the responsibility of the awardee. So whoever the proponent is that ends up owning the project and moving it forward will be responsible for future reporting. For the competition coordinator, we would like a report at the end of this process. For you, the heavy lifting is done once the awards are made, and your involvement beyond that is much more limited, and we may reach out from time to time for reference information or whatnot, but really it's this window up until February of 2026 where we need your help. Great. Joy, did you want to add anything?
No, I just thank you for the interest. Thank you for being here today. Really appreciate it.
Great. Well, with that, thank you, everyone. If there are more questions, feel free to reach out to myself, Gene McCrimmon, at crincanada.com. And we really look forward to seeing your proposals. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great day.